Here's something genuinely unsettling. The smarter and more skilled you become at something, the more likely you are to feel like a fraud doing it. Not less likely, more. That feeling has a name: the imposter syndrome. And the people most crippled by it are very often the most competent people in the room. If that sounds backwards, that's because almost everything about this feeling is backwards from what you would expect. You would assume the more skilled you become, the more confident you feel. Research on this keeps finding the opposite pattern in a lot of people, especially in fields where the work is generally complex. The more you actually learn about something, the more clearly you see how much you still don't know, how many ways you could be wrong, how many experts disagree with each others. Beginners often don't know enough to see those gaps. So paradoxically, getting better at something can make you feel less sure of yourself, not more, because your sense of how much there is to know grows faster than your sense of how much I've mastered. Here is another piece of it. You experience your own work from the inside. Every doubt, every draft you scraped, and every moment you didn't understand something. On the other side, you only experience other people's work from the outside, the finished, polished result. That's an unfair comparison your brain makes constantly without telling you it's unfair. Everyone else's struggle is invisible to you. Yours is the only one you have full access to. So it quietly feels like you're the only one faking it. Not because you actually are, but because you're the only person who's behind the scene footage you ever seen. And if you're the kind of person who overthinks stuff like this, by the way, subscribing helps a surprising amount, just saying. You would think success would resolve this. Often it does the opposite. Each new achievement raises the stake of being found out. Now you don't just have to perform, you have to perform at the level people now expect, in front of more people with more to lose. Some people respond to this by attributing their success to luck, timing, or other people doing the work. Anything except their own ability, because crediting themselves feels like a claim they're not sure they can defend. That's not modesty, that's the same mechanism, just disguised as humility. Here's the part that trips most advice up. The usual suggestion is just look at your accomplishments, the evidence is right there. It rarely works because imposter syndrome isn't actually a logic problem you can argue your way out of. The evidence was never the issue. The feeling persists even when you can list 10 reasons it shouldn't. A more useful question isn't, do I deserve to be here? It's, is this feeling actually giving me accurate information? Or is it just what learning and growth feel like from the inside? Almost everyone competent enough to ask that question is already further along that the feeling is telling them. Here is the part that generally should unsettle you. The feeling never fully goes away, no matter how much proof you accumulate. People at the very top of their fields, Nobel laureates, world-class experts, report the exact same fraud feeling, just with higher stakes attached. Which means the feeling was never measuring your competence in the first place. It might just be what it feels like to be the only person who can see your own unfinished work forever. If you want to learn more about this topic, feel free to subscribe.